I came out over a note left on my parents' pillow. It was Valentine's Day of this year. That's awesome. The irony. I love irony. Hello lovely humans, welcome to this space on the internet. So I put out an Instagram post asking for different video ideas that you guys would be interested in, and I really liked one of them, and that's why I'm here in this video. So put out another post asking you guys for your coming out stories, and today I'm going to be reading them and I guess sort of reacting to them, giving my thoughts on them, and maybe how they reflect a wider queer or ace experience. So if that sounds like fun, let's do it. Keep watching. So a lot of the coming out stories that I do have, because our audience is largely ace, are ace or aromantic coming out stories. So that'll be a lot of what I'm going over in this video. I'm gonna read a bunch of them, and yes, let's just start. All of these will be shared anonymously, so none of these people's identities will be public. And thank you all for your stories and input, because you made this video possible. Mind you, you make all of our videos possible because you watch them. Coming out story number 1. I remember I came out to my mom as ace and she said something like, "Oh yeah, I was asexual when I was your age." I wasn't sure how to feel, but I was slightly annoyed and angry. She also asked me one time, "How do you know you don't like sex if you've never tried it?" which made my blood boil. But I had no idea what to say in the moment. I just felt frustrated, I guess. She's definitely a lot more accepting of me being ace now, which I seriously appreciate. Thank you for sharing your story. Good job coming out in the first place to all of the people. You're amazing. I love you. Good job. Not that you need to. You're also awesome and amazing, and I love you if you haven't come out or don't plan on it. A-okay. This seems to reflect a pretty common reaction to coming out as asexual, because a lot of people don't know what it is or make wrongful assumptions about asexuality because there isn't much information about it, and much like all queer identities can be looked down on or misunderstood because it's not straight. So asexuals often get comments like this, which is really upsetting, but that's why we're here, Spacey Aces to the rescue. I hope we can help people like yourself to sort of ameliorate their coming out experience or the aftermath of it. Thank you for sharing. Okay, next story. I came out over a note left on my parents' pillow. It was Valentine's Day of this year. I love the irony as an aro-ace beam. The envelope is decorated with the ace colors in a heart-shaped wax seal. Inside the envelope was a heart-shaped card with the ace flag on it. In the card was a simple note saying that I don't really like guys or gals. Thanks for reading. That is adorable. Also, in really good taste. That's awesome. The irony. I love irony. I don't really know how it went, I suppose, in terms of reaction, but sometimes that's not even the most important part. That's adorable. Okay, next coming out story. My second coming out experience made me realize that cis straight allo people aren't aware of LGBTQ+ that we thought of. Wait, sentence. I'm guessing this person means to say that their second coming out experience made them realize that cis straight allo people aren't aware of LGBTQ+ issues as much as we thought they are, no matter how open they are. Okay, anyways, moving on. At first I was coming out as bi to my friends and they were okay with it, but once I realized I'm on spectrum of aro-ace, I told them that I'm demi-aro-ace for easy explanation. One of my friends became annoyed, kinda from the tone of it, and complained there's too many flags and why is it necessary to have so many. Even though my friend is still treating me as the same, the word he said is still engraved in my mind. That's really upsetting, I'm sorry, but good job coming out anyways. I think this one goes to show that, like, in the LGBTQ community, we can unite over shared experiences, but also, like, there's an important place in recognizing different identities and the different struggles they will encounter. And I think this story is a bit of a representation of that, how sometimes people who are okay with others being gay or bi might react negatively to someone coming out as asexual or aromantic, or also things like non-binary, because they're not as well known and can be a little bit more alienated in some ways, which doesn't super make sense to me because from the perspective of a straight person, like, don't they equally not feel attraction to the same gender as they do feel attraction to the opposite gender? Meaning, like, shouldn't they understand the allosexual gay experience in that, oh, I'm attracted to this kind of people, you're just attracted to a different kind of people, but we share that experience of attraction? And shouldn't they be able to comprehend asexuality because in the same way that they don't feel attracted to particular people, like the same sex, asexuals aren't attracted to anybody, and they can sort of relate over that shared lack of attraction. But I suppose they just can't wrap their mind around that in this moment, and again, why I'm here. Although I think a lot of the ace phobia and misunderstanding comes from within the queer community because they don't seem to understand it. And I think a very small subset of queer people can see like an asexual's lack of attraction as sort of like countering the values of queerness, but like attraction isn't always at the center of queerness, even if it is, like the lack of it doesn't seem to like directly interfere with that like concept, if I'm making sense here. But I think the narrative that like love is love and you should be able to love who you want, some people have a difficult time extending that to means you can also not love or have sex with or kiss or do whatever or feel whatever for whoever. That sentence got away from me for a bit. Okay. When my parents weren't home, I printed out flags using the printer and stuck them on the wall with command strips. I think only my mom noticed because she was the only one who asked me about it. Neither of my parents mind me being aro-ace or really care, but I guess that's better than them hating it and kicking me out. None of my family other than my grandparents that I know of are homophobic. I ended up having a conversation with my aunt about the community and how it basically works like each sexuality and gender. She was very interested too, and I was happy to talk about it with her. Talk about a cool aunt. That's awesome. And I think it is pretty common maybe it's an asexual thing, but like coming out using flags, maybe it's just a queer thing in general because you could use a rainbow flag and like just be like, hey, rainbows. But I think it's certainly a way to come out that a lot of people use. It's just broadcasting the flag that corresponds with their identity and seeing how that goes. I'm in support. Okay. When I came out to my parents as aro-ace, my mom asked if I had a hormone imbalance, and my dad said that all children are aro-ace and I shouldn't put myself into boxes. It was really hard, to be honest. I had a whole year where I felt depressed and didn't want to be at home because I didn't feel understood. But I went to counseling and talked to a therapist and things got better. I told my parents about what comments hurt me and they listened. It took a long time, but they were getting better, and now I can even put up a pride flag on my door. It's not perfect, but it was worth it. I'm so glad to hear that it was like worth it for you, because I think it would suck to like go through that and have it just be like, dang, I wish I didn't come out in the first place. But that was super brave of you. Good job. Peace out. Peace. Good job. Peace. Again, this is kind of a quintessential ace phobia. I think it's interesting, like the contrast between your parents' reactions in a way. Like if you have a hormone imbalance, pathologizing it, but like implying that your teenager adult hormones should be working and they're not, and then like your dad's reaction that all children are aro-ace, like as if you shouldn't have those supposed hormones that make you feel attracted to people, which isn't necessarily the case. But like, I don't know, they just don't line up in a way that I can imagine. But I also want to comment on like all children are aro-ace, because people have a really hard time understanding like the difference between being aro-ace or aromantic and asexual and being a kid, because they're different. Like being aro-ace is just as much a sexual orientation as being like bisexual or gay or straight. And it is something that develops in a sense because you're a developing human being. Even if that means you don't ever develop sexual attraction and you didn't feel it as a child, like, that's not the same thing. It's not like a child's incapacity for or like obliviousness to like adult concepts that just like translates into asexual and aromantic adulthoods. It's just, as developed human beings, we know ourselves and how we feel towards certain people and things. So equating us to children's a bit bizarre to me. And I go over this in my second episode of Myths and Misconceptions about Asexuality, where I talk about infantilization. Anyways, thank you for sharing your story. Okay. I was hanging out with my sister and told her that one day I was watching Sex Education. Really good show, recommend. Great queer representation for the most part. And there was a character called Florence who was asexual. I told my sister that I felt seen with Florence's experience and that I had realized I was asexual too. I had just never heard the word before, so I spent my teenage years thinking I was weird for not feeling the same way that everyone else seemed to feel about sex and attraction. She hugged me and said that she was happy for me because it was an important part of my identity. That's awesome and really demonstrates the importance of media representation of queer people and asexual people and aromantic people. Do it. Put aro-ace and all of the identities. Put them in your TV shows, okay? Respectfully, with input from people who have that lived experience. Thanks. Got it? Nice. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands in this video, so sorry if the hands are distracting. Okay. That's all of the coming out stories I'm going to do. Let me know if you want a part 2 because there are a lot more stories, and I think I only did asexual and aromantic coming outs in this video, but I would be happy to sort of subdivide them and make like more like non-binary and trans coming out stories because you guys provided me a lot of material, so thank you for that. Before you take off, just want to mention that we have an awesome Instagram. Go follow it. And also, I just made us a Ko-Fi. Hello, it's me in editing. I feel like a real YouTuber doing this. My camera load got full, so we're doing the ending like this. So as I was saying, we made a Ko-Fi page where you can go buy us a coffee, aka giving us a small donation or a series of small donations in order to support our work that we do here on YouTube, on Instagram, and on TikTok. I'm not over there because I hate that app, but yeah, if you feel like you've benefited from the education we've provided on any of our platforms, then we would appreciate if you are willing and able and wanting to give us money. But really no pressure, we do make ad revenue, so just watching this, you have helped us out. So thank you. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. Love you all. And we'll see you next time on this space in this space on the internet. On this space.